So a busy day, another landmark day, and quite frankly, the University of Arkansas in recent history doing this way too much. Joined now by our senior analyst, Mike Irwin, and a former player and a Razorback legend, Peyton Hillis. Mike, I'll start with you. Why was the time now? It didn't really seem like it would happen this fast, but a 43-point loss, maybe they had no choice.
I just think when things get bad enough, if you don't have some reaction, some way, somehow from somebody, you leave the impression that nobody's really running the show. We're just going to go along like we're going along, and we're not going to tell you anything. Fans get really restless. Most of the time when these in-state or in-season firings take place and you get an interim coach, most of the time it doesn't work. Occasionally, you brought up Ed Ogeron. That's a good example of occasionally when it works.
Worked at LSU, worked at USC.
Yeah, but most of the time that doesn't work. But that's not the point. I know it was not the point with Frank Broyles because I talked to him. He said, you still have to do something to occupy people's minds until you can get to the end of the season and then make a change, the change you want to be more permanent. So I think that's why this happened.
Peyton, you feel like this was an optics firing? They had no choice. You lose a game like that, you got to send a message.
There's no doubt. I mean, in my opinion, I think it was a couple years too late. But at the same time, I mean, after yesterday's football game, how do you not fire him after that? You know, I'm still like playing mind games with myself. Like, what if they would have lost by 3 or 7? Would they have kept him? Probably, more than likely.
It's a good point.
You know what? And so, you know, as of right now, I just think that they're struggling to try to salvage some of this season or salvage some of the fan base. It seems like, but it's going to take a lot of work because it's been a pretty disgusting year.
Mike, somewhat unprecedented here. Jack Crow did get fired after the opener, but you're firing a coach in September. Why now and not back in December?
Well, look, here's the thing, and this is where Yurachek comes into play. Because when he gave Sam Pittman that big buyout, you have to understand that when Yurachek was hired, a lot of people loved the first thing he said. And the first thing he said after he was hired was, look, I don't believe in these big buyouts. He said, I believe in performance-based contracts. I'll give you more money if you win. I'm not going to give you a bunch of money if you lose. So that was his position. And then Pittman gets hired, and he says, look, I don't care about contracts. I don't know what I'm getting paid. I've got this lawyer, this lady that's a friend of the family, and she's my agent, and I don't really care about that stuff. And then all of a sudden he has a 9-win season, and now he's got Jimmy Sexton, and now Yurachek's caving in and giving him the big buyout. So the big buyout was one reason he didn't get fired in 2024. We now have, in 3 seasons, we have 2 examples of the team quitting on him. Yeah. At the end of 2023, that team quit on him in the last 2 or 3 games. Pooh Paul, he stood outside Razorback Stadium with people around him who heard what he was saying to his parents and his friends, and he said, I'm not going to stay here when people give up on the football team. So we know that happened, and you could see it did. Okay, so then last year wasn't quite so bad, but here we are again, and there's more players giving up. Because if you say they didn't give up, explain to me how you almost beat Ole Miss, who then played – Ole Miss played better against LSU than
undefeated, nearly a top 5 team.
Yeah, and at the end of that game, Ole Miss had the ball. LSU didn't have a chance to win.
Peyton, why is this funny to you? The whole buyout language. Does that mean the university is not committed enough?
Well, you know, it just seems to me that, you know, all you hear is, you know, we're going to make a winner, and we're going to do all it takes.
You're not showing me a winner.
No, you're not showing me. It shows me that you're just worried about the bottom line. And if you're making money to hold some back, I mean, it's either about winning or making money. It can't be about both. So, you know, I don't feel like they've really made that decision in the past few years. And for one thing that you said, you know, about Hunter Yurachek, about how it's not so bad. That's just our problem. Like, we haven't had a 8-game winning season.
Won 9 games under
what,
Pittman
4 years ago?
One time. It's the only time it's happened since 2011.
Okay, so past the decade of not winning 7 to 8 ball games, I'm sorry, that is not acceptable to me. We're in the SEC. You got to have pride as a Razorback. You got to have pride if you live in this state, if you're a player, if you're a coach, if you're a part of the organization. Like, I want to win. And so ask yourself, is it about the money or is it about winning? I mean, tell us. Yeah. And I felt like Hunter kind of did that at the Touchdown Club, maybe knowing, maybe not knowing. As you said a while ago, maybe he corrected his mistake.
Yeah.
I guess this morning. But I mean, come on, guys. We just don't lie to me. Tell me straight up.
Mike, final thought here, just 10, 15 seconds. Will Hunter Yurachek, in your opinion, make the hire?
I don't think he will. I think talking about what you want, the kind of change you want, I think you got to find somebody else that can make that happen. You're going to rely on this guy to make that happen when he's been here longer than Pittman,
Yes.
and he hasn't made it happen.
No.
So you go get somebody else and let them go hire a coach that can do this. And he's got to get the money for it too.
When you fire a coach, it's really expensive. Multi-million-dollar buyout here with Sam Pittman. There's going to be other casualties here on the staff. You bring in a real coach that's coveted. You're talking close to $10 million, another $5 million in the staff, another $20 million potentially to make that attractive for a coach and a roster. Mike, will money be an object with the next football coach?
I don't know right now. It's unclear to me. I think if they get the right athletic director and he mixes with the
You're writing off Yurachek then.
if he mixes with the boosters, first of all, but then the average season ticket holders, you don't have to be a big booster. But if you're out there in the public and you're meeting with these people and you're talking to them and they like you and they think you care about what they think, they're much more likely to give you that money. What I'm being told right now is that everybody, when Frank was the athletic director, he believed that the fans were the customers and the customers were always right. They had to come first. It's not been that way. It wasn't that way under Jeff Long. It's not been that way under Hunter Yurachek. So until you start making the people, if I'm going to ask you for some money and I come around once every 6 months and say hi to you, and then in 10 seconds into the conversation, I want money from you, what are you going to do? You're not going to give me. But if we're friends, you're more likely to do it.
Peyton, you lived it, man. So you met those boosters. Do you want to believe that money is a problem here?
I think it always
Or
has.
do you
Well, I
believe
mean,
it's
I
a
think it
problem?
always has been. I mean, prove me different. I mean, to me, it seems like
They found the money for Calipari. They found the money for Van Horn. 15 years ago, they found the money for Bobby Petrino and Brett Bielema.
there's no doubt if you want to find the money, it's there. There's no doubt about it. But it seems to me, especially over the past almost 20 years now, it's kind of like we're, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's where I feel like we are now. And so I don't believe that Hunter is going to be there at the end of the year. I think we're going to have a new athletic director. And so, I'm not going to make any prejudgments till then and see who we get and see what coach he brings in.
How good of a job is this if you don't have all the NIL money? And realistically, you look in the SEC, is this a bottom 4 job? And are you with Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mississippi State? Is that the company you are with Arkansas right now?
Honestly, I always felt like Arkansas was always a mid-tier SEC team, always, year to year, year in, year out.
So back in the 12-team era, you're living
Yes.
5 to 8.
8,
something.
somewhere in there, especially with money,
State
where you
population,
stand.
all that.
Yes, and so now it feels like I think if you ask the average fan, they would say we're on the bottom half of the SEC now for sure, and I would agree with that.
Mike, what do you think about this job? How different is it now than even whenever Bielema took it?
Totally different. I think it's a bottom-level job. And then you've added 2 teams to the SEC since the other year. You had 12, and then you had 14, and now you had 16.
And Texas and Oklahoma. You're not adding Arkansas and South Carolina here. You're adding the
and
league
Texas
schools.
A&M.
I'll explain to you, when Sam Pittman was hired, nobody knows what Vanderbilt doesn't release what they pay.
Private school.
But it was believed that Pittman ranked 12th among the 13th that reported income contracts for coaches. So he was already getting paid 12th out of 13th. And so this is where you're at already. And now we haven't gone anywhere since then. Maybe it went up, but now you're back. If they win 2 games this year, they're back where they were with Chad Morris. So, I mean, I just think right now it's a very, very tough job to sell to somebody what you could likely, what you want to look for if you're creative is what Indiana did, where they look down at a lower level and find a guy that's
feels like they've tried that. It feels like they tried that.
yeah, and you find a guy that's hiding down there at a lower level that nobody's paying any attention to, and then you look at him and go, whoa, what's he doing? And then you bring him up. They do that with players all the time. You bring D2 players in and they win. I mean, I don't know why you can't do that with a coach.
I agree. I feel like we've always been there, like Stan Heath. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, in
Mid-major
basketball,
Kent State.
and Chad Morris. The potential. You try to sell the potential off on the fans to make them get all excited, but the results never come.
That's right.
All right, now time for the fun stuff. Give me some. You're going to hear John Summerall, the head coach at Tulane. Names escape me. I believe it's Galesh at USF. They had the big upset over University of Florida. You're going to hear Rhett Lashley. You're going to hear Jeff Traylor. Their Arkansas games. Names. Who should the fan base be excited about? Who do you want to see as the head coach?
I'm a 100% Gruden
You
man
keep
all
saying
the
this
way.
over and over. That's the message.
John,
board,
if you
the
hear
message
me,
board
come
going
on.
around. Is that realistic? Hey, and you can't tell his stories without these emails. And those emails are not great. So
Okay.
whenever he's up there in front of the university, in front of the board of trustees, and you're going to pay him $8 million a year, there's the story of his past.
I'm always tired of them saying, let's talk about the money here at Arkansas. Well, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Kentucky. I mean, the list goes on. These organizations don't have tons of money, but they can get Lane Kiffin and bring in winners. Why can't Arkansas do that? I mean, why not shoot for the moon? Or shoot for the stars, land for the moon type of deal. I mean, I don't see why Gruden wouldn't consider it, only because I know with all the troubles he's having with the NFL right now, I don't know if that's going to happen. And he's getting to that age where he's on the end, and he's like, man, if I'm going to coach again, it's need to be now. I think right now is the iron's hot, and try to strike it and see what happens.
Some of the better coaches in the country, Mike, have been hired as assistants. You even look at Kirby Smart. He came from the Alabama staff. Right now, the gentleman at Oklahoma, Brent Venables, Clemson, longtime Clemson assistant. Looks like they got a top 5 team. It's been done before at that level. What are you expecting? What direction does the team go?
I really don't have any idea, and I don't have a preference. The only coach I've ever wanted hired here really bad was Mike Leach, because he was so good to work with the media.
And at least they'd be excited.
If you do what I do, you don't want to walk into a press conference and have it be boring. I mean, Chad Morris's press conference would put you to sleep. So I thought, if they bring Leach in here, we'll be talking about the day he gave this guy marriage advice about how to handle his wedding, and you never knew what he was going to talk about. So that's the only guy I ever thought, well, boy, I'd love to get that. I don't care. I'm not the one that's going to do it. I think it's dangerous to hire an assistant because you just don't know, but you can get lucky. I would rather go get a guy at a D2 level or whatever, FCS, because I think if
There's
you
been
want
some luck with that. Chris Kleinman at Kansas State came
Exactly.
from North Dakota State. Craig Bowl at Wyoming had pretty good success. Also,
I
North
think if
Dakota
you
State
can
guy.
win at that level, you can win at another level. It's just coaching players. You have better players, so you should still be able to win. So I would do that rather than go after an assistant.
Isn't that what we've done with the past 2 head coaches, though? I mean, quite literally. Really? I mean, with Sam Pittman, with Chad Morris.
Sam had never been.
Underdogs. How about,
I am with you, but how are they going to find $30 million needed to go get the right guy?
I mean, they've always found it before, right?
They found it for a basketball coach.
Okay.
That's
one of the
a little bit
best in the
different.
country.
So, and they found it when Petrino was here. They did.
Okay. And, I mean.
And Jeff Long got that $150 million end zone built. That's all privately funded.
If the name is big enough, I promise you they will
Like
come up
Belichick
with,
at North Carolina.
Well, like Calipari.
Yeah.
You pull that name out of the hat and go, Calipari, sure, we'll give money to that.
Well, they had a flyover yesterday. I was thinking, there's $100,000 right there. We could have saved that. I mean,
like Lance Leipold, I believe, at Kansas. Nobody's really ever won at Kansas. Is that enough to Matt Campbell at Iowa State? Hard
Campbell's
place to
already
win.
turned the job down before.
Whenever they hired Pittman, right?
That's right.
How about Deion Sanders? Does that get people excited?
I would be excited about that. I don't think he's going to come. now.
How do you, as a former player, born and raised here all your life, how frustrated are you with where things are at?
As far as what exactly?
The state of the team, that they're firing coaches,
Oh.
that they could go 2-10, that they can't compete, that this is turning into a bottom tier SEC job.
Honestly, it makes me sick. I mean, it makes me sick to know where we were at to where we are now and how much we've fallen off.
You were 7-0 in the SEC in 2006.
Wow.
10-1. You had
You're
to win 2
talking
games.
about a
You had to
guy
play for the
that in
national
his
title.
last game as a Razorback, they went into the national champion. They won the national
LSU
championship
won
and
the
beat
title
them
that
at
year,
their place where you're not supposed to be able to win.
3 touchdowns.
So you had that success. I can't imagine what it feels like now to see what's going on right now.
Well, It makes me real sick just because if we had put our best foot forward and try to do the best, I feel like nobody believes that, though. I don't think nobody as an Arkansas fan could say, I think the organization has done everything they could to make a winner. I just don't think they've done that for almost 10 years now. I mean, I thought the Bielema hire was, they were trying.
Outside the box.
No doubt. And
something
it didn't
different,
work
yeah.
out. I don't think, his scheme in the SEC, before NIL could really work with, the talent you had in the SEC. But, I just don't think they've been trying to do that for the past 10 years. I think it's been all about money, sales and stuff like that, which I understand, but that's not why the fans are coming to the game. The fans are coming to see a winner.
There's 75,000 people there on Saturday. It was completely banged out, and there were 20,000 by the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah, it was, they quit.
They did.
They quit.
It seemed like, I don't want to call out players, but the effort just didn't seem like it.
Well, and I don't know if it's because quit on the coach, just quit in general, or whatever. They quit.
And then the fans quit. If they see you quit, then they quit and they leave.
And the fans are invested in the product. So if the product isn't emblematic of something they want,
Well,
that's
again,
what's
if
gonna
you
happen.
want-
I'm so sorry. Don't get me wrong.
you're fine.
I don't believe that the guys quit because they don't want to play. There's obviously something
It got
malfunctioning in
tough
the locker room.
and they stopped.
Whatever that is, I wouldn't know, but there's something a lot missing there.
And it was twice in 3 years that it happened.
Yes.
That's why he had to go.
Thought on Bobby Petrino, Mike, how realistic it is for him to maybe go on a run. What's the number? Is it 2 wins? Is it 3 wins? How does he get this job?
Yeah, maybe 3, 4, I don't know. I think he'll be highly motivated because I've told this story before. He's told his friends all the way back to right after he got fired how bad he wanted to come back here and make up for what he did because he said, I really screwed up. So you got to admire the path he took to get back here and to be in this position, but it's still almost an impossibility.
Well, and I will say this about that. I mean, we're going to find out how much Pittman had a hold of that team now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How much was it? Was it Petrino? Was it Pittman?
Who were they tuning out?
If they come out this or next week, and they they start winning or they start really competing. I mean, we have 7 games left against all top 25 teams.
Yep.
And I mean, if you come out,
all 7 opponents have received votes. 5 of them are ranked right now.
exactly right. And I mean, if he comes out and starts winning ball games, maybe you can look that direction. There's no doubt. But with our defense, the way they're playing, I just don't know if that's a possibility.
That's what
right
you
now.
got to look at is does the defense at least suddenly start becoming competitive and not be what it is right now? That would be a big deal.